It's February 25th, 2026. As Air India 1 slices through the clouds on its way to Bengorian Airport, you have to understand, the world isn't just watching another state visit. No, what we're all witnessing is a geopolitical high-wire act. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is back in Israel. But this is a whole different ballgame from his last trip. This time, the stakes are just astronomically higher.
Remember that famous bromance on the beaches of Haifa back in 2017? Well, that's been replaced by the grim, gritty reality of a region completely on edge. While the cameras are all set up for a historic address to the Israeli Knesset back home in New Delhi, the political temperature is absolutely boiling over. This visit isn't about handshakes and photo ops. It's being defined by incredibly hard choices.
And you know what? It's really what's happening just beneath the surface in secret military projects and brand new financial networks that could literally rewire global trade. That's going to define everything. Stay till the end, because some shocking things I'm going to reveal in this explainer. Let's get back to it.
All right, so here's how we're going to peel back the layers of this partnership. We'll kick things off with the absolutely staggering military deals. Then we'll dive into the future of warfare with something called an invisible shield. Uncover a new financial order that's being built as we speak. And finally, we'll get to the heart of it all, the intense political gamble.
Okay, first layer. Let's follow the money. Because this isn't just about defense. It's about an economic and military codependence that has ballooned to a truly massive scale.
So get this. In just the first 2 months of 2026, reports are saying that India and Israel have signed defense deals worth a staggering $8.6 billion. Just let that number sink in for a moment. That's not some 5-year plan. That's the work of about 8 weeks. It's a crystal clear signal of some serious strategic urgency.
And to really get the scale here, you have to look at the bigger picture. According to SIPRI data, between 2020 and 2024, India bought over a third of Israel's entire global defense exports. 34%. So for Israel's combat-proven defense industry, India isn't just another customer. You could say India is its lifeblood.
So what exactly is in this multi-billion-dollar shopping bag? Well, first, you've got the Spice 1000 kits. That name probably rings a bell from the Balakot airstrike. See, these kits basically turn a standard dumb bomb into a genius. They're absolutely crucial for taking out heavily protected targets, like command bunkers buried deep underground, and doing it with surgical precision.
And next up, we have Rampage missiles. The best way to think about these: supersonic battering rams launched from a fighter jet far, far away. Their main job is one of the most dangerous missions out there, taking out an enemy's air defenses. They're designed to destroy radar sites and missile batteries from such a great distance that the jet that fired it is never in any danger. They basically kick the door down.
But here is the really crucial part. This is moving way beyond a simple buyer-seller relationship. Under India's Atmanirbhar Bharat, or self-reliant India policy, Israel is helping set up hubs right there in India for maintenance, repair, and overhaul. Now, this isn't just good business. It is a vital strategic move. Because if you get into a long fight, you can't afford to be waiting for spare parts to be shipped from Tel Aviv. This ensures India's war machine can keep running on its own.
So the partnership goes from the weapons we use today to how wars will be fought tomorrow. And that brings us to layer 2, where this whole alliance gets truly revolutionary. We're talking about building an invisible, impenetrable shield for the entire nation. One of the biggest things that's been revealed around this visit is a pretty secretive project, reportedly called Mission Sudershan. For years, India has watched Israel's Iron Dome and thought, how could we do that? The challenge was always the sheer scale of India. Well, this mission aims to solve that problem by creating a nationwide anti-ballistic missile defense system. And at the heart of it all is some absolute game-changing tech, like Israel's Iron Beam. This is a directed energy weapon. It doesn't fire an expensive missile. It fires a high-energy laser beam that literally melts incoming drones and rockets right out of the sky. Now, for a country facing the threat of cheap drone swarms, the math on this is a no-brainer. The cost per shot is practically nothing, making it a sustainable way to defend against these modern threats. And this whole thing is a perfect example of how this partnership actually works. The plan for Mission Sudershan is to basically weave a digital tapestry, taking Israel's super advanced sensors and integrating them with India's own AI-powered tracking systems. All that data then gets fed into Indian-made launchers, creating a sovereign, multi-layered shield that combines the very best of both countries' tech.
Now, okay, missiles and lasers definitely grab the headlines. But the next layer of this alliance could actually be way more disruptive. We're talking about a new financial order, an economic partnership designed to completely challenge the status quo.
The big idea here is something called digital autonomy. What does that mean? It means building a completely parallel financial highway. For decades, almost all global trade has run through Western-controlled networks, like SWIFT. And while they're efficient, we've seen how they can be weaponized through sanctions, basically freezing a country out of the world economy. Digital autonomy is about creating another path, one that's immune to that kind of geopolitical pressure.
And look, this isn't just theory. Just imagine an Indian tourist paying for lunch in Jerusalem by just scanning a QR code with UPI. Simple, right? Now scale that up. Picture billions of dollars in trade being settled instantly, directly, using India's digital rupee, completely bypassing the US dollar. And this drive for autonomy goes beyond just finance. They're working together on combat-proven AI, using algorithms for everything from spotting threats to managing national water security.
And all of this brings us right to the core of this whole explainer, the enormous political gamble. Because a strategic pivot this sharp comes at a very steep diplomatic price, and it's igniting a firestorm of controversy, both at home and around the world. So, back in New Delhi, you've got two very powerful and very different stories clashing. The government's position is one of cold, hard, realpolitik. They're basically saying, national interest comes first, period. Access to this kind of defense tech is non-negotiable. They call it de-hyphenation, meaning their relationship with Israel is totally separate from their historic stance on Palestine. But the opposition, they're calling it moral cowardice.
And that view is put very sharply by Jairam Ramesh of the Congress Party. He said, "The world is currently at odds with Netanyahu's government. By brazenly embracing him, India is abandoning its historical role." The argument here is that at the very moment Israel's government is facing intense global scrutiny, India is choosing to stand right beside it, and in doing so is sacrificing its long-held position as a leader of the global south.
And you know, that argument is deeply rooted in India's history. Back in 1960, Prime Minister Nehru actually visited Gaza. In 1988, India was one of the very first non-Arab nations to officially recognize the state of Palestine. So the optics of this visit, a formal address to the Knesset during a time of intense regional conflict, it stands in really stark contrast to all of that history.
So, after all that, where does this leave us? Well, when you pull all these layers together, the weapons, the tech, the finance, and the politics, a very clear, very calculated picture of a new kind of world order starts to emerge. This is a cold calculation. This alliance isn't built on some shared history or diplomatic pleasantries. It is built on raw, mutual necessity. India needs Israeli tech to protect its borders and manage its resources, and Israel needs India's huge market and its diplomatic weight to avoid being isolated on the world stage. In this equation, both nations have decided that their own national interests come before anything else. And that leads us to the final critical question. Is this a masterstroke of pragmatism, a move to secure India's future in a very dangerous world? Or is it a departure from principle, sacrificing a moral standing on the world stage for a tactical advantage? The path India is choosing right now will absolutely define its place in this new world order.
So what do you think? Pragmatism or principle? I'd really like to know your thoughts down in the comments. For more explainers just like this on our shifting global order, make sure you subscribe. And don't miss the analysis that's coming up on your screen right now. Thanks for watching.